Looking back now, the signs were everywhere. We simply missed them. The answers seem obvious today. Back then, they felt invisible. I spent my childhood beside Jesus, believing he was ordinary. We shared the same streets, the same hills, the same dust. I knew his family, his voice, and his familiar smile, or at least, I thought I knew him completely. My name no longer matters. History rarely remembers people like me. I was not important. Just another boy growing up nearby. A neighbor, a friend, a witness without realizing it. And this is the story I never expected to tell. Nazareth was small enough for everyone to know each other. News traveled quickly through its narrow streets and stone homes. Nothing remained hidden for very long in our village. Or, at least, that was what we believed then, because the greatest mystery lived among us unnoticed for years. Before we continue, let me ask you something important. Have you ever misunderstood someone standing right beside you? Someone whose true significance only became clear much later. Take a moment to leave a like on this journey. It helps forgotten voices reach people who still listen. And tell me in the comments what impacts you most. If these ancient paths fascinate you, continue walking with us. There are still many witnesses waiting to share their memories. Back then, life in Nazareth followed a familiar rhythm. Each morning began with sunlight spilling across dusty rooftops. Merchants prepared their goods while families started another ordinary day. Children filled the streets before responsibilities could find them. And Jesus was usually there among us, running through alleys, climbing hills, laughing like every other boy. Nothing about him demanded attention or suggested future greatness. That is what makes these memories so difficult today, because the differences appeared in moments most people ignored. Small moments, quiet moments, moments easy to forget. Yet those moments are exactly what I remember now. I remember one afternoon when several boys started arguing. The shouting grew louder until everyone expected a fight. We all chose sides, ready to defend our friends. But Jesus stepped forward and spoke with unexpected calm. Within moments, the anger disappeared and the shouting stopped. Even then, something felt different. We just lacked words. At the time, we quickly returned to our games and routines. Children rarely spend long thinking about unusual moments. But that memory stayed with me longer than expected. Not because it was dramatic, but because it felt natural. Jesus never seemed interested in winning arguments or proving himself. That alone made him different from most boys our age. As the years passed, similar moments appeared again and again, small things that seemed unimportant until much later. At the synagogue, he listened more carefully than anyone. While others grew restless, his attention never seemed to wander. He listened as if every word carried hidden meaning. The teachers often noticed, though few mentioned it openly. Sometimes he asked questions that lingered after lessons ended. Questions that sounded simple, but revealed something much deeper. Even respected elders occasionally paused before answering him. That was unusual in a village like Nazareth. Children were expected to learn, not challenge understanding. Yet Jesus never sounded arrogant or eager to impress. He seemed genuinely interested in truth itself. Looking back, that difference feels impossible to ignore. Most people simply called him thoughtful and unusually mature. Perhaps that explanation felt easier for everyone involved. After all, nobody expected greatness from our village. Nazareth was ordinary, forgotten, and far from importance. History happened elsewhere, or so we believed. But history has a habit of hiding quietly, and sometimes it hides in plain sight. As childhood slowly faded, responsibilities began replacing games. The carefree days became less frequent with each season. Families depended on their sons, becoming hard-working young men. Jesus followed that path just like the rest of us. He spent more time helping Joseph in the workshop. The sounds of tools echoed through the neighborhood daily. Wood shavings covered the floor beneath their careful work. Many mornings I passed by and watched them. Joseph worked with patience, discipline, and quiet determination. Jesus worked the same way, never seeking praise, no shortcuts, no complaints, no desire for recognition. And somehow, that made people respect him even more. The older we became, the harder he was to explain. One memory returns to me more often than the others. A weary traveler arrived in Nazareth near sunset one evening. His clothes were covered in dust from a long journey. Most people barely noticed him as they passed by. Travelers came and went. That was nothing unusual. But Jesus noticed him immediately and stopped what he was doing. He offered water before the man even asked for it. Then he offered food and a place to rest. Nothing miraculous happened. Nothing extraordinary appeared to occur. Yet the kindness felt deeper than simple hospitality. It seemed effortless, as natural as breathing itself. Compassion was not something he practiced. It was who he was. Years later, that memory would return with surprising clarity, because moments like that were never isolated incidents. They appeared everywhere once I started looking back. Whenever someone suffered, Jesus somehow seemed nearby. Whenever grief entered a home, he quietly showed compassion. Whenever fear spread through a family, he brought peace, not through power, not through status, not through influence, simply through his presence and the way he cared. People trusted him long before they understood him. Perhaps that trust was one of the earliest signs. But signs are easy to ignore while living them. Only memory allows us to connect the scattered pieces. And slowly, the pieces began forming a clearer picture. The boy I grew up with was changing, or perhaps he had never changed at all. Perhaps I was the one finally beginning to notice. The years passed faster than any of us expected. Childhood disappeared, replaced by responsibility and growing expectations. Then came the journey that many families prepared for, a pilgrimage to Jerusalem during the season of Passover. For most of us, it felt familiar and routine. Another journey, another celebration. Another year passing by. No one imagined history was quietly approaching that moment. No one imagined questions would soon replace certainty. No one imagined a child would astonish learned men. But looking back, now, perhaps we should have. The signs had always been there, waiting patiently. We simply never understood what they were telling us. I spent my childhood beside Jesus and thought I knew him. I knew his home, his family, and his daily routines. But familiarity can hide truths standing directly before us. Sometimes the most important things arrive quietly and unnoticed. And sometimes we only understand them years later. That was my story. Perhaps it is yours too, because the boy from Nazareth was about to speak publicly. And when he did, even scholars struggled to respond. Questions would be asked. Answers would leave people speechless. And another witness was there to see it all. If this journey meant something to you, stay with us. Leave a like and help these forgotten voices travel farther. And write, "I was there," in the comments below. If this story made you see these moments differently, Studspard and continue walking these ancient paths with us, because another witness is waiting to tell their story. And what happened next would be impossible to forget. The teachers had answers for everything, until a boy from Nazareth began asking questions, and no one could explain what happened next.